You know what I hate more than an outdated game? No. Yes, bad remasters, specifically ones that don't build anything on top of the already pre-existing game. When you pop in a remastered version of a title, there's a couple things every gamer expects. Improved aspect ratio, improved graphics, improved sound, improved frame rate. Now, I'm not expecting a remake that recreates the entire game from the ground up, but a remaster should be the attempt to perfect or refine a game after many years of dust. Quality of life changes are small things that many people think don't matter, but could either make or break an experience. Save points, bugs, tedious features, bullshit levels, bad game design in general can completely ruin a game, but this is where the power of remasters lie. A developer with newfound knowledge of game design and making a game bearable to play can go back to fix their past mistakes and introduce a game to a whole new audience. Any person who hasn't played the game or was too scared to can now play it in its definitive state without having their eyeballs melt from the ugly fucking graphics. Remasters sound simple, right? There's no counterpoint to that, they are pretty simple. But some game devs like using mass amounts of horse strength when they work, and this gives them the ability to make a bad remaster. A bad remaster is the rare phenomenon where they release a game in a somehow worse state than it was 20 fucking years ago. Grand Theft Auto Definitive Edition. This game fucking sucks. There's nothing I hate more when game companies use the word Definitive Edition. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? Rockstar really did the impossible with making the game buggier and the graphics worse. Half the time I feel like I'm in a Toy Story game with the fucking cutscenes. See, that's an example of a bad remaster from a technical standpoint, but what about a bad remaster from a financial? Fuck you, Nintendo. Remember 3D All-Stars and how they made it a timed exclusive? I mean, they achieved their goal in creating a sense of scarcity and making the game expensive as fuck now. I mean, just look at the price. The game itself is fine, it works, but they just pulled a really unnecessary move on the whole timed exclusive part. In my eyes, a perfect remaster is just cleaning off the dust of an old game, whether to make the game pretty or improve the overall game design. And as a big-time Risk of Rain player, I think they did a decent job on the remaster for the original Risk of Rain. It couldn't hook me like the second one, but that's probably because it doesn't have Goku. The graphics got a total sprite rework, and I appreciate that they stayed faithful to the original and not going too overboard to the point where it's unrecognizable. Another thing I love about game remasters is when they surprise you with added content. They really could have just released the game with better graphics and that's it, but they went the extra mile for bonus content for you to enjoy. Pilot, Artificer, Drifter, new items, new rule choices, changed outdated game functions. These are all things they didn't need to make, but they did, and I wish more companies can be inspired to do this because the reputation you gain from doing this is powerful. After clocking in 6 hours into Risk of Rain 2, I never thought the difficulty would be an issue for a seasoned veteran like myself. But never have I been more glad that they added new options, cause what the actual fuck is this difficulty spike? 1 second I'm walking around killing bad guys and shooting up fucking everything, and the next second I'm getting railed by a Lemurian. Hey, but guess what? This is an issue that can be fixed from the new features that they added to the game. So thank you, Hopu. While this remaster is good, it's not perfect. The game still shows some aging with how stiff some things feel. The characters feel awkward to play. The enemies' AI feel dated at some points. And some enemies can climb and some simply just can't. The early game is painful to play, especially in multiplayer from the lack of enemies spawning compared to the size of the map. Multiplayer scaling is completely whack and usually difficulty curves like this, right? This is Risk of Rain return scaling. Notice the difference? Most of my game time has come straight from multiplayer, so I'm speaking purely from experience, and I'm hoping sometime in the future they can fix this. This game had the right to have it remastered. I mean, the original barely worked on my fucking computer. The devs noticed the game could use some work and took the initiative to actually improve it. I call this a necessary remaster. Now, do unnecessary remasters exist? What kind of question is that? Of course they fucking do. Remember The Last of Us Remastered? Not the remake, the remaster. If you put both of these fuckers side to side, you literally can't tell the difference. I'm just gonna refrain myself from speaking on the remake and save it for some other time. The only noticeable thing is that the shadows are cleaner, but what motherfucker is looking at shadows in a game about zombies? It was just an excuse to port it over and say that it's remastered with the PS4 specs, but it really isn't anything crazy. Remember Spider-Man on PS4? Boom, remastered, Sony. Did this game really need a remaster? Honestly, I don't really mind this remaster as the changes are more noticeable than The Last of Us, and they just need an excuse to port it over to PC and PS5. I think the average consumer for these types of bad remasters can acknowledge that game companies are just trying to profit off of nostalgia. And it makes me sad to see that they're being exploited to such an extent that they're buying the same fucking game with literally no changes. This fact aside, it makes me appreciate game companies more that really put effort into their remasters and making their game into an actual playable state. We're still waiting on you, Bloodborne. Crank that shit to 60 FPS, go above 480p, and I'll be happy.